Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
The thing is all those teams that we're competing against all have really good relays too. So, it's just going to come down to who has a great day on both those days and who has good sticks in the 4x1. And
in baseball, you see top seeds fall more in baseball than in any other sport. And again, I've said this throughout the season, teams that pitch have a chance.
First pitch, swinging a line drive, left field. This one's deep. Going back is Prado. That's over his head up against the wall. House is in. Short's right behind him. They're going to wave Riley Green around third. The throw from the outfield, not in time. Baez to third, and he will be out at third. But it's a 3-run double, and the Tigers take an 8-5 lead.
Obviously wanted to go out there and, get through, some quick innings there with that, longer pitch count in the first. And, I feel like I got the 2 outs a couple times. I was able to do that. And then, obviously trying to get that third out there and putting guys away kind of struggled a bit.
Kind of shows us a pretty resilient team. We went down early, and we were able to battle back.
Inbound to James. LeBron against Gordon. Drives into a double team. Puts it up. Couldn't get it. Horn sounds. Game's over. The Denver Nuggets have finally done it. In their 47th season in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets are going to the NBA Final.
When it comes to you saying you have a lot to think about, and he said, whether I want to continue to play. And I said, as in next year? He said, yeah. I said, so you would walk away? And he said, that's what I got to think about.
And welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome in. It is the Tuesday show. Steve Webster with you, along with Mike Hesher back in studio. Mike Corson also in, and Aaron Clark. So what tickles your funny bone today there, Mike Corson?
Our producer's trying to fix the camera, and he thumped me in the back of the head. So I took a flop, NBA style.
Okay, you're all right. Yeah, good. Hesh, your trip okay? You got back. That was good. We always wonder when we let you out if you're going to come back.
It was fine. Thank you very much. Can I tell you about the quick experience on I-70?
Yes, please.
So I'm cruising down I-70, and there's a car in front of me, and then there's 2 semis. And the semis were, next to each other, and they wouldn't let anybody pass. So this dude next to me just pulls onto the shoulder and passes the semis. It was like a police chase move. I was like, what are you doing? But no, he was all right. It wasn't like he was in a hurry because he gets on the other side of the 2 semis and just kind of goes back to regular speed. But it's like he just was tired of waiting behind those 2 semis.
Nice principal driver there.
But that is true, though. I mean, but that's you were in Colorado, so the road was just flat as could be.
No, I was in Kansas at this time.
Okay, all right. So
he was.
But why do they I know these professional drivers, but then they want to pass, but they're going like 1/10 of a mile faster than the truck that they're passing. Okay, and then you do come to a gradual hill, and then they can't get up the momentum to get around them. So everybody's just stacked up.
And I will give credit to the driver that was in the regular right lane. After a little bit, he did slow down to allow the other trucker to get past him. But they were going the same speed. It could have been miles, but this one truck was not taking it.
So the guy took the initiative and just got in the pass in the shoulder.
The shoulder and took off.
Thank God it wasn't Bike Across Kansas Day.
Well, my thought was, I hope he was looking forward to see if there was a median or guardrails or something that he would not hit.
He does it all the time, don't worry.
Yeah, I-70 between Kansas City and Columbia. That should be an option. Because they're always trying to pass, but then it's on hills. Anyway, on the show today, we're going to be talking Houston Cardinal baseball. Eric Steiner is going to be in studio. Also, MJ Elward, Chase Steinert, and Leighton Haxton. We'll be talking about their Thursday state tournament game taking place in Manhattan. They'll take on Humboldt. Mike Hesher will have the call. So what's Humboldt's mascot?
I have no idea.
Okay.
We have not done anything looking forward to Humboldt.
Wouldn't they be the Humboldt Crabs? I mean, that would be
That'd be
I'm just thinking a Wildcat. I'd be curious to see what it is.
I think Wildcats is right. Anyway, so
Google machine, boys. Where you at?
Okay, yeah, the tweeter machines. Mike Corson will be getting you ready for the state track meet. He has all the numbers for you, and we'll be talking with members of the Great Bend Panther girls swim team. They're going to be in studio to recap last week's state swimming championships in Topeka. I think Humboldt Wildcats. I like that. What do you got, Aaron?
It is definitely some kind of cat. I found a paw print. I haven't been able to find an actual definitive wildcat.
So that could be a cougar.
It is some kind of big cat.
Bobcat.
I'm saying cub. It might be the Cubs. At first I thought that was just for an elementary school because I saw it on an elementary school page, but official Wikipedia, Humboldt High School mascot, cub.
Okay, there we go. So we have that found out. Okay, let's get to our sounds the past 24 hours or so. Lyles Lashley yesterday talking about your question was, or you pointed out that Lyles Lashley and the Great Bend Lady Panthers qualified all the relays. But as Lyles Lashley said, well, so the other teams, and they're really good. So we'll talk more about this coming up. You've squeezed all the numbers through and everything.
Yeah, the kicker there, I think he mentioned the 4x1. That's the one where things go wrong because it's going to come down to hundredths of a second. And then the other ones are all really usually about the rosters that the teams run of who's going to go 1, 2, 3. But last year, what we got, Great Bend got first, third, so it'd be nice to get points like that again.
Connor Nickel on the show on Friday talking about number 1 seeds. It's not, chalk is not normal in baseball, not nearly as much as it is the other sports because, and that would be good for our local teams. Great Bend, an 8 seed, taking on number 1 seed Bishop Carroll. Hoisington, a number 8 seed, taking on the Humboldt Crabs. They are a 1 seed. And then Larned is a 6 seed, but they're taking on maybe the most talented team in 4A.
The McPherson Bearcats.
The McPherson Bearcats.
And I was just talking with Randy Guerin in the hallway today. Brady Hope has been a shutdown pitcher, and so especially the smaller schools, you might have that one shutdown guy. Guess who's going on day 1? And so that's a game changer at really 4A down especially.
I think that plays into why just any time in baseball the higher seed can be upset because I think going in against Bishop Carroll, Great Bend has a heck of a chance. You get Carson Humphreys on the mound. He's shown some real pitching this season, and I think just one game, you don't know what he can do. You don't know what the rest of the Panthers can do. Going in for the upset, baby.
Okay, Hash, I'm glad you're back today. We will zip through this fairly quickly. The call last night on WXYT in Detroit, Javier Baez cleared the bases with a double. He was tagged out trying to extend it to third, but he knocked in 3. That turned out to be the difference. Tigers beating the Royals last night 8-5. Brady Singer came into the game last night with a 6-0 record against the Tigers and a 2.44 ERA and 10 career starts. Well, they figured something out last night because he allowed 5 runs and 7 hits, 4 walks, and 3 2/3 innings. You heard him talking about his performance. I knew that you would make this. I did this for you, Hash, because Jackie Bradley was talking about the resilience.
Kind of shows us a pretty resilient team. We went down early, and we were able to battle back, had put together some pretty good at-bats, and we weren't able to pull it out tonight, but hopefully we can build some momentum off of that.
So I wanted you to stay positive, Hash, because Jackie Bradley Jr. said that they fought back.
I'm not sure I can stay positive.
Okay.
I mean, other than the fact that Mike Corson pointed this out to me this morning, they did release Hunter Dozier. So I can stay positive on that one. But there's about 22 others that they can release. Out of a 26-man roster.
This was not part of the sounds of the past 24 hours that it intended to be. Yes, in a roster move yesterday, Hunter Dozier designated for assignment with the Royals, bringing his 10-year career with the organization to an end. This year hitting 183, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, 29 games. And the manager talked about that move before the game.
Tough decision based on who he is as a person, as a teammate, as a worker. We think the world of him as a person. There's a collective decision that what we thought was best at this time for the team. As far as the discussion with him, I'll leave that to him. But he handled it extremely professionally, as you'd expect.
Unless he is claimed by another team, Royals will end up eating a substantial amount of money. Was making $7.5 this year, due to be paid $9.25 million next year. There's a $1 million buyout for the 2025 season, and they'll be paying Dozier roughly $5 million for the remainder of this year. So his unemployment package is worth $15.25 million.
Imagine getting paid that much to not play baseball for someone.
Yeah, I think I could find other things to do.
So, yeah, that was... And Dozier was the top prospect all the way up through when he's playing with Omaha, got to the big leagues. He did okay at times, but not as a top prospect. And that was really one of the mistakes the Royals made in signing him to a long-term deal.
He had one good half season, and that's all he had, honestly, that was decent. He had a half season that wasn't bad. But more importantly, Nicky Lopez is back with the ball club.
Well, there we go, right there.
There's some positivity. Look at that.
Some pop.
Dozier's off the team, and Hesh is positive.
Well, they had to clear out some money for that big extension they're going to sign Nicky Lopez to.
So
some incentive bonuses. He'll get paid $10 million if he hits 5 home runs.
Good luck.
In
$2 million up his career.
He seemed like a really good guy, so you always hate to cut those guys, but Kansas City in the past has been able to get guys who play and have good personalities. So you do feel bad. It's the guy's dream, but most of us dream and we don't get paid $17 million.
That bothers you, doesn't it?
I'm not playing for the Royals right now for free.
People get laid off all the time, and you should have seen the sob stories for this guy last night. And it's like, no, there's people out there making low 5 figures to get laid off their jobs. Nobody's crying for them.
The call last night on ESPN Radio, Mark Hestisher, LeBron James' attempt to tie the game in the closing seconds does not go in, and the Nuggets beat the Lakers 113-111. They sweep the series. They're down by 15 at halftime, and they now are in the finals. They could know by tomorrow. The two teams that will start the NBA Finals a week from Thursday if Miami beats the Celtics. And then Dave McMenamin, ESPN Lakers reporter, talking about a conversation he had with LeBron James as they left the arena. LeBron said he's got a lot of things to think about. And he said, well, does that mean you would walk away? He said, well, that's one of those things I got to think about. It's an unfair question anytime you ask somebody right after a season's over with.
I go back to Dean Smith. They asked him this question. He said, do not ask me this question in April. Wait till September or August if I'm going to coach another
he's still one of the best basketball players.
Exactly.
He's just trying to move around so he can get a dream team in there with him. So
I got an even one better one, Hesh, when they asked Roy Williams, and he said to the lady, I know you got somebody talking in your ear and they wanted to ask that, but I think he cussed at her on TV. And then he quit afterwards. But
it's one of them questions, why do they even ask?
Like they said, LeBron is never going to be a Laker. He'll never be accepted out west. Come home, LeBron. You belong in Cleveland.
For a third time. Third trip around the old Cleveland Cavalier carousel.
Cleveland rocks.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you change teams. I mean, it's not like he leaves.
I don't think he should come back to Cleveland. I think they've got a pretty good roster, young roster there going on their own, but
he never went to college. I think he's just going to enroll at USC. Aren't there rules now that you can, if you didn't use your college eligibility?
Imagine being like a 19-year-old thinking you're hot stuff because you go to UCLA and your first game assignment is trying to defend LeBron James in the paint.
We've been waiting.
Grown man strength.
We've been waiting for Bronny to come up. Why couldn't LeBronny just go down?
Well, then it begs the question: How can he when he comes back to the NBA? Because I assume he'll want to follow Bronny back to the NBA. Then does he just a normal free agent?
That would be, could he get drafted again?
Because I don't know how that would. I don't think so. I don't know.
4th round.
Unprecedented.
Okay.
It was a nice defensive play from Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray, though, for the Nuggets to send him to the NBA Finals.
Okay, and the hockey last night. Something about South Florida, right? Look at those South Florida teams. Florida, they're up 3-0 on Carolina. They win last night. So the NHL playoffs are all these exciting.
Was the Hurricane?
That one's going to get chippy towards if there's a blowout game in this last one. Last night, after every stop early on, there was little fisticuffs going on. Matthew Tkachuk, I would hate him, except he's actually a really good hockey player, but what an instigator out there doing good things. So that's been a pretty chippy series. Once it's decided, and especially if it's decisive, it might get ugly and entertaining.
But you know what the thing is? They could go out there and just knock the tar out of each other, and it's game 4, and it's going to be a sweep. You know, guys' teeth are like chiclets all over the ice, and then they'll pick their teeth up and they'll go shake hands at
good sports.
It was the Hurricanes' 11th straight loss in the conference finals. They won the Stanley Cup back in 2006, and now have made it to the conference finals a couple times. 11 straight losses now.
And that's how old I am. I watched Matthew Tkachuk's dad, Keith, with a couple teams. Rod Brendamore's coaching the Hurricanes. Watched him growing up. So it's funny to see him in a suit and tie.
We need to go on the road, at this time of year next year. Just go up to Toronto, do some shows.
Oh, we could absolutely.
Well, you guys are killing it right
We got to go early if it's Toronto, though, because they usually lose.
Well,
the first one.
They do. They choke.
I guess we
Sorry,
just
Leafs fans.
We just need to go to Florida. What am I talking about? We just need to go to the South.
Back.
What do you want to go to Canada for? None of those teams have been around in the playoffs for a while now.
Stanley Cup hasn't been in Canada in like 23 years. Can't get it back.
Coming up, we're going to talk Hoisted Cardinal baseball. We'll talk track with Mike Corson and Great Bend girls swim team in to recap last week's state. It's Sports Day on KVGB.
Some of us were born to farm. Some diesels, like Cenex Premium Diesel, were born to fuel. Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn to reduce particulate matter and keep filters cleaner for longer. Fuel your equipment like a pro with Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster and leave typical number 2 diesel to the amateurs. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Start a new career in the medical field with Barton Community College's Medical Assistant Program, now offered 100% online. Learn to record patient history, measure vital signs, and maintain medical records using improved virtual simulations. Join this growing field with a certificate or associate's degree from Barton. Study anywhere and get your hands-on clinical experience at a location close to you. Learn more at medassistant.bartoncccc.edu.
At Clara Barton Medical Clinic, we are more than just your healthcare provider. We are your friends, your family, and your neighbors, and are here for you through every stage of life. Our clinic offers a variety of services under one roof, including routine exams, vaccinations, specialty services, same-day appointments, and walk-in clinic. There's no better feeling than receiving friendly and compassionate care from the people you know and trust. Clara Barton Medical Clinic. Hometown care from hometown people.
The annual Jubilee celebration is this Memorial Day weekend, Friday and Saturday, May 26th and 27th. Enjoy great food, entertainment, vendors, and so much more, all in downtown St. John. Find the schedule and more on the Around the Square St. John, Kansas Facebook page. Come visit and enjoy St. John, Kansas and the St. John Jubilee. This message presented by SJN Bank of Kansas, Ag 360 Insurance, Minnish Chapel and Monuments, Squeaks Club, and Mid-Kansas Ag.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Baseball previews continuing here on Sports Day today as 3 area teams in the state tournament. That includes the Hoiston Cardinals. They will be in the Class 3A state baseball tournament in Manhattan on Wednesday. They get Humboldt at 3:30. Our very own Mike Hesher will have the call from Toyton Family Stadium in Manhattan. We have a full studio today, including head coach Eric Steiner. He's joined us. Chase Steiner is in, also Leighton Haxton and MJ Elward. Guys, welcome to the studios here. And, Coach, congratulations. Sunk in, I'm sure, by now, but a pretty cool scene last week down at Legion Field in Hoisington.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. It sunk in. We've been preparing the last couple of days. Got practice today and tomorrow. Polish some things up and get ready to go down and play a good Humboldt team.
What do you think of that 12-run inning?
It was.
Hesher, all he's done, it took too long.
It was interesting. It was interesting. This year we've always been capable of coming up with a big inning somewhere in all the games, most of the games that we've played. We just don't know what inning it's going to be. And, these guys take good approaches at the plate. Never want to take the bats out of their hand. I probably tried to press a little bit in the earlier innings, try to get some things going because we were in a tight ball game. And so then I just kind of turned it over to these guys and let them do what they do. And, they came through the big inning. We scored 7 of those runs with 2 outs. I didn't realize that till the other day. We had a pickoff at third for the second out. The next batter strikes out on drop third strike. And he runs it out to first base, just being heads up, smart baseball. They kind of got lazy. Didn't throw it down there very well. And then after that, we came up and just put pressure on their defense, rattled their pitchers a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, Heston has probably one of the top pitching staffs in the state. But playing them earlier in the season, we take them to extra innings both games. I think it gave them a vote of confidence. I think these guys knew that's who we had in the regional. If we took care of step 1 and 2, we got to step 3. We had a great shot at winning the whole thing. And they've just believed all year, and these 3 guys next to me have been a big part of it. I couldn't ask for a better senior group. These guys have been with me for 4 years, well, 3 years because we had COVID. They didn't get to play their freshman year, but these are the guys I started with, and I wouldn't want it to happen to a better group of guys.
What were your expectations for this team before the season, Eric?
Our expectations for the season was just be competitive, give ourselves a chance to win ball games, and play good Cardinal baseball. Start to rebuild some things. These guys have started and laid the foundation of Cardinal baseball to come, and that was just kind of our expectation of be competitive every game and give ourselves a chance at the end.
Can't believe these guys are seniors, but they're here right now. Chase Steiner, I'm going to talk to you first. So what are you doing? I mean, is this the closest you'll ever be to being a professional baseball player? Because, you don't have school going on right now. What's the last week been like?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm a professional player. Just show up and work on my baseball games is about all I do anymore.
Okay, well, that's a good way to do it. How sweet was it to – I know it's nice to go to the state tournament, but how sweet was it to take down Heston?
Yeah, it was awesome, especially, such a big game at our home field. There was a huge crowd out, a lot of support from this community, and just getting it done in front of the great fans just meant a lot to us. It was a really sweet deal.
MJ, why don't you slide over here? You can be part of the conversation. Come on, Leighton. He's trying to take his microphone from him. MJ, what was it? Tell me what it was like. Okay, you get that last out, and you guys are headed to the state. Tell me about that experience.
It was really cool. Just the amount of people that were there and all the support we had this year was really cool.
Did you practice it? I mean, because, Coach, I don't know if you want those guys jumping on each other, I mean.
No, I made it out there to try to save him. They dogpiled little man there because actually he was the one that closed it out in the game, got the last 3 outs for us on the mound, came in and pitched really well. Our whole pitching staff that day, from top to bottom, was very good. Lane French came in, middle relief, kept it a 1-1 ball game. We had our big 5th inning. Tony Moore came in, shut him down in the 5th and 6th. And then, MJ, I gave him the ball to finish it out because Tony was out of pitches. And he came in and did the job. And, we played good defense behind him, and we got the last one. I think the sweetest thing probably was it was a strikeout, and that was pretty impressive to watch. But it was a great team effort on that day, all day long.
Sneak up just a little bit. So take me through that inning. You get the ball, chance to send the Cardinals to the state tournament. What was that like?
Yeah, it was, I don't know. Before, I was really nervous. When we had the big inning, I was pacing back in the dugout back and forth. I was ready to go. And right as Chase, when we did our throw down, he handed me the ball. He was trying to talk to me, and I just didn't say a word because I was just so locked in. I was ready to do it.
Chase, what was he like? I mean, you say, okay, he's all right, or do you say, man, I don't know, man, this first one may fly over the backstop?
I thought his nerves were getting to him, and he was going to throw a couple over the backstop. I didn't like his reaction to me, but I'm glad he was focused up and ready to go, and he got the job done for sure.
Talented, you have to know different pitchers and things like that. Talk about what you wanted to go with in that last inning.
I just wanted to see a bunch of strikes and no walks and, get the
get us some outs behind them because we had such a big lead. We knew we could hold them, and that's what we did.
What was your fastball in that last inning? You're probably clipping off, 93, 94 at that time? Or what?
Yeah, it was probably high 80s, I'd say.
Yeah. So you get the last out, man. That's got to be incredible.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was kind of hoping we'd have a moment when the Royals won the World Series. They struck him out, and they went and hugged the catcher, and then they celebrated. So,
oh, boy, this is MJ Elward in with us, Chase Steiner, and Leighton Haxton. So I talked to, Chase. I said, how sweet was it to beat Heston? But that semifinal game, I don't know, Beloit, we owe them a few, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We've always battled with Beloit in every sport, and just getting them in any sport we can always feels good.
Talk about your game against Beloit. How'd you feel, and how'd you think it went for you?
I was feeling pretty good, just trying to throw strikes and let the defense behind me make the plays. I need to, find the zone a little bit more, not walk as many people, but it ended up working out because only gave up 2 runs, and we had 7, I believe.
So when did you start thinking, this team we've got here together, we might be pretty special this year, Leighton?
I knew it last year when we only had one senior, and he graduated. I felt we had the talent, and with the new coaches coming in, we got a lot of experience, and that has helped us with practice and all that. So, yeah, I knew we had the talent to come in and compete for a state championship this year.
So have you been doing like a bunch of chores for your pop here the last few days, or what?
Definitely. Got to take care of the dog.
Okay. Well, that's so that's like 3 times a day, right?
Oh, yeah. That's a lot.
Sum up your feelings to end your high school career by going to a state tournament. What's that like?
It's amazing. There's no better way to do it. We just got to go compete, know that it's not over yet, and win 3 more games.
I just had one question for Coach. A lot of things overlooked, but the double plays in the first 2 innings were huge. I mean, they were hitting the ball and looked like they could have run away pretty easy early.
Yeah, we got some ground balls when we needed them, and double plays turned. Tony's a big part of this group. He's the next guy in line. He's one of our leaders as well as these 3. He's just a great player. He's very instinctive baseball-wise. He does a great job. Had turned 2 big double plays. Made another big hustle play in the bottom of the 6th or bottom of the 5th. They had some runners on, and we went to throw a pickoff over, got the guy in a rundown. First baseman hit his glove, fell out. Tony was right there, threw a dart to MJ at the bag, and MJ put the tag down. He's just all over the place, and he does a great job. He swings the bat well, like the majority of our kids do. That's one of our strengths is our hitting. We swing it pretty well. We're very selective at the plate, have good at bats. Like I said, those double plays saved us, especially when I put a pitcher out there that, was very, very nervous in that big game. But he did the job for 2 innings, what we needed him to do. And then, we went to our mid-reliever, our closer-type guy. He got tired at the end, towards the end, so we got him out and put Tony in. He shut him down. And then, like I said earlier, MJ came in and got the final 3 outs for us. So it was a great team effort by everybody. We had some timely hits in that game. Ren Gala had a good hit to the right field, took the ball the other way. I think he scored 2 there. And then MJ came up, took another one to right field, scored another run or 2. We just kept the pressure on their defense, and we knew that going in, that if you put pressure on that defense, they rely way too much on their pitching to strike guys out. And they're not very fundamentally defensively if you put the ball in play. And we'd been through the lineup twice, and we made our adjustments, and these guys came through and did what they needed to do.
Thoughts on Humboldt? As we've said before, it's really hard to you're not breaking down a lot of tape on these guys.
We don't break down a lot of tape. I've talked to some other coaches that have played them before. They have good pitchers that aren't overpowering. They're around the plate. They throw lots of strikes, and they play very solid defense. They make the routine plays. You're not going to see them throw the ball around, make mistakes defensively. I think they're top probably the top part of their order is probably pretty good. From I don't know from what I've seen or from what I've heard, but they're going to be a quality baseball team. Anytime you're a top 8 team in the state, and you're 19 or 22-1, whatever they are, they got to be pretty good. They don't win 22 games by not being good. And the league they play in, I don't know. I've never seen that league. I've heard that it's not a very strong league. The CKL that we play in, we've seen a lot of dominant pitching, a lot of good pitching. We've seen 3, 4 probably first team, second team All-State guys. And we've got some wins against a couple of them, and haven't got wins against the other ones, but we've hit the ball well against them. And so that, like I said earlier, that's one of our strengths is we're good at the plate.
MJ's kind of sum up, like I asked Clayton, what's it like to close out your high school career going to a state tournament?
It was awesome. You can't dream of any better moment. It was just probably the best.
What's your feelings going to be to heading into that game? The first game, get play K-State. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. I'm ready.
Okay, Chase, an important question for you here. First of all, you played in some big games, some big boy games. Basketball especially, some high-stakes games with football. How's this kind of compare a couple days out, besides knowing that you're not going to be, with all the contact and everything? But what are you feeling right now?
Yeah, it's a lot different mentality because I'm not studying hours of film anymore. I'm just going to go out and do what we do. It's been our dream since we were 10 years old playing in our Hitman baseball team on the weekends, and it's been our dream. So here we are. We knew it was a legit shot this year, and we made it. So it's pretty bittersweet. We're just going to go out. We got nothing to lose and just do what we do.
Couple days out, Leighton, what are you thinking?
Same thing. We're just getting prepared to, put some runs up, and hopefully they keep them to a certain amount of runs and win 3 games and get the title.
Your pop yell at the umps?
Oh, all the time.
Really? Okay. Okay. We'll keep an eye on him out there. Chase, how'd you shoot out at the clay shoot?
I took the year off this year.
Oh, okay. I didn't see you out there. I was just wondering, if you were up there at the top. So
no, that was prom weekend. I was going to get my rest and not do that this year.
How'd sleeping at the field go?
I was not a part of that.
Okay, all right. You just don't participate in anything anymore. You're just out.
Yeah.
MJ's your dad calm?
He's somewhat calm, I'd say.
Okay, all right. I could see that. All right, guys, thanks for coming in here today. And, man, good luck. That's going to be fun up there. What's it going to be like when Eric managing between the lines up at K-State on a Big 12 field?
It'll be exciting. We'll get up there early, get the off factor out of the way before we go hit the cage. Let them soak it in a little bit, and then it's going to be down to business. I believe, and my coaching staff believes, that we have a good chance to go shock some people and pull an upset. I have no doubt in my mind these guys are going to be ready to play. Everything we've worked for from day one has come, and like Chase said, we got nothing to lose. We're playing with house money. The only people that thought we could get there is probably the 15 guys and the 3 coaches that I have on staff that believed we could get there, and we're just going to go try to do something special, something that's never been done in Hoisington history, and that's win a state baseball game.
Love to see you guys back in here, state champions next week.
Yeah,
guys, it's been
exciting.
fun watching you guys through your high school career. I can't believe you're grizzled old veterans now, but enjoy your days off here, and good luck on Thursday. Houston Cardinal Baseball, you can hear it. Mike Heschel will have the call coming up on 100.7 Eagle Country. Pregame around 3:15 coming up this Thursday. We'll take a break. More Sports Day.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
Hi, my name is Dalton Jones, a patient that I helped. She came in with chronic back pain that she'd been having for years. After several weeks of showing her exercises, several different interventions, we were able to get her back to where she can do her shopping without leaning on the shopping cart at all.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
As you grow older, you grow wiser. But there's one thing you might never understand: Medicare. Jordan Financial Services in Gray Bend is your local licensed Medicare agency. Notice I said local. Don't call the 1-800 numbers endorsed by some big-time celebrities. Call Jim Jordan at 620-786-4338. He can help you reduce the cost of your Medicare plan while still maintaining the benefits you need and like. Call Jim at 620-786-4338. Jordan Financial Services, the wise choice for Medicare.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB.
Welcome back, Sports Day here on KVGB. Steve Webster in with you. So, Hesh, you didn't tell me that no wonder Chase Steiner didn't sleep on the football field last week. That was for the girls only.
That was my apologies. That was a girls only thing for sleeping on the field. Senior only girls. Only girls.
No wonder Chase said, "Well, no, I was not down there."
And if he would have been, I would have been suspicious.
Okay. All right, that was good because you didn't know that till last week, right?
I asked my daughter about it, who graduated from Hoisington High School, and she had never heard of
Okay,
this.
but that's what the girls do. They sleep on the football
The
field.
senior high girls pick a date right before they graduate.
Okay, all right. So, okay. Mike Corson back with us right now. This is a big, big week. State track. You've got so much information, I'll just let you go and some of the big stories that you're going to be looking at. State track meet coming up on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, we'll try to breeze through them here real quick. We'll start off with 1A regional out in Greeley County. Pawnee Heights, Alec Carlson was the regional champ in the high jump, long jump, triple jump, and the runner-up in the javelin. So the kicker there is 1A is loaded in all three of those events, the jumping events, with the Madison kid, who's a really good sprinter. So he should easily go top three in at least three of those, but
wow, okay.
Coming home with a state title, a little different story. Otis Bison's Ian Hazelhorst was second in the high jump out there. Girls side, 3,200 and the high jump. Sophomore Destiny Mitchell for Otis Bison was a runner-up. Pawnee Heights, Olivia Haynes, I think she had to miss the state basketball with an injury. So she's back, could be a top three candidate in the 1A discus, but kind of got a runaway girl from Thunder Ridge, I think the Slavic girl. Greensburg goes 1A again, so Central Plains gets a sprinter, Blaine Hickle, into both the 100 and 200-meter dashes. St. John sophomore Quade Smith at very competitive field in the 1A 800, so he'll be fighting for a spot top three, and that group could really go any direction of ways. And then on the girls' side, Lauren Ozier from Central Plains won the regional javelin title at 121, and Maxfield Jr. Macy Russell right behind her at 119.4. Jump to 2A, and she's not one of our kids, but she's always of interest to us because she always runs regionals out here. Chesney Peterson tied Jackie Stiles last year from Stanton County as a four-time individual champ. Did not qualify in 4 individual events this year. So she's going to let Peyton Wirtz from Wabunsee win the 400, evidently.
Are there any of those schools that could do a Norwich Mike Tilson from get 3 firsts and win the state championship with 30 points in 1A?
I don't know. Madison last year, they had the Bryson Turner kid who was a sprinter and a jumper, and then they had the Casey Helm kid that went to Princeton to play football. Or maybe he was a thrower, but one of the best throwers all time in Kansas. And with those two, I think they won 4 or 5 golds, so I'm guessing they were right up there. Sometimes like the Quinter girls are really good like that.
Right. Okay.
Back in 2A locally, Coy Binky, man, you see times come out of Kiowa County and you're always a little suspect. Everything seems to be a little hot down there. But he's a regional champ in the 100 and 200. He's going to go up against Pleasanton's Isaiah Bates, which has been one of the fastest kids. I think he won the 102 last year. And Coy could easily go top 3 in the 100 and definitely medal in the 2. Bryce Steffen gets through in both hurdle events for Ellenwood. Asher Miller's been a mainstay at state cross country and track. He's going to go back in the 1600. And then crazy one here, no Ellenwood Eagle girls made it to state. Kennedy Binky missed javelin qualification by 6 inches.
Man.
A big one out in Garden City because they had all of our area Class 3A schools. So a big one going out there, as we mentioned at the top of the season, Larned senior Jamie Hagerman always comes out of the gate, one of the top triple jumpers in Kansas, has yet to win the gold. Hadn't seen a result from her from a while, but she did get to go at regional, so she's going to go to state. But she was a runner-up. Hoisington's Mallory Mooney takes the regional championship. So both of those, if those kind of results hang out, be fighting for a pretty high medal. Junior Josiah Ball, been a favorite in the Class 3A pole vault all season. Crazily enough, that regional out there had 13 kids go 14 feet. So that kind of levels the playing field. Now we don't know who the favorite is, but I would expect probably that order 1, 2, 3, and hopefully Ball will get back on top there. And he's also going to be contending for high state medals in both hurdle events. Nice one for Hoisington sophomore Camden Tarleton, second in the 3200, and he's also going in the 1600. And once again, we always talk about how loaded Class 3A is, and definitely both of those are no exception with Wichita Trinity in there, the Shively kid. And then Hoisington's 4x8 with Tarleton on there got second. Russell's had some big jumpers this year. Jay Spearman, Braden Strobel, they went 1-2 at regional high jump. And definitely contenders for medals, but you got a kid that's jumping 6'7" in Class 3A, so they got a couple inches to go, but that's an event where you never know what's going to happen at state. Hoisington Junior Caden Hoffman, second in the shot put. Class 3A is always notoriously tough in the throwing event, so he's got some work to do there. And speaking of the Hagermans, Kaylee Hagerman's going in this 100-meter dash, and we'd mentioned the freshman Kara Herbert and the hurdles. She qualifies, and Hagerman's also going in the long jump. And then another big shocker that we talked about downstairs this morning, no Hoisington hurdlers on the girls' side at state this year. So tough field at regionals to get them knocked out. And then the other big one from Hoisington, Sheldon May Farmers, your reigning Class 3A champion in the pole vault. She will be back in that event, and it's probably going to come down to her and the Smoky Valley girl for the state title there. They went 1-2 at state last year. On to 5A for the boys' side, obviously Caden Esfeld in the 8-16-32. You've got Aquinas in there. You got a bunch of those Eastern schools, so competition's going to be tough, but we like to think he can medal in all three. The only other individual qualifier for Great Bend on the boys' side, Matthew Mader in the javelin. It's a pretty sizable lead, I think, for the top 3 kids there, but with one of his best throws, he could easily sneak top 3, maybe 4. And then the only other team for the Great Bend boys is the 4x8, and there was only 4 teams running at the Mays Regional, so those times were a little down, and so you could have literally walked it and made it to state. So Great Bend does enter that with the number 16 seed. Obviously going to have to cut lots of time to get up into the top 8. Girls' side, we've been talking about it all year. We know that it is heavily loaded. St. James did what was expected at regional, so they're going to take a pretty heavy contingent to Wichita. I do think it's going to come down to second and third, and it's going to be super close between Great Bend and Capon.
How many total events did the girls get in for?
That I have not counted.
Okay, because you get 3 relays for sure. Okay.
And you got the high jump. You got 3 kids in the high jump, and Great Bend could even go 1-2 in that event on a good day. The Hayes girl's been jumping. They've seen her all season, and she's always right there, but at about 5'4". So depending on who misses the bar first at 5'4", and if Valerie Luna can clear 5'4" and beyond, you're looking at an easy first and third or first and second for Great Bend. Cassie Elligod, I think she's gotten 5'2", but it's a little inconsistent, 5'0", 5'2", so probably definitely needs to get 5'2" to be in points consideration, and that'll be a key event because St. James doesn't have somebody in there, nor does Capon.
What is your scenario for Great Bend, like, shocking the world?
A baton drop.
Okay.
St. James is that loaded. So Addie Nicholson's in the 16 and 32, and man, St. James has really good girls in front of those. So that's one where if Addie can beat, they've got 3 girls in there, so if Addie can beat 1, maybe 2 of those girls, that's a big point switch. Same thing with Eliana Beckham in the 800. She ran the 9th best regional time, even though it was her best of the season. And you got Sienna Smith in there, the freshman for Great Bend, but if you can switch places with one of those St. James kids, that'll be huge. And then the other wild card, our javelin throwers, Macy Noctegal's been throwing. I think she's PR'd each of the last 2 meets. So if she can keep that up, that's possibly a top 3 to 4 finish. And Kendall Blessing has been ranked number 3 in Class 5A all year. So if she can get back to her early season throws, that's a possible top 4 finish. And Capen's 2-time state champion I don't know where she is. I think she played basketball, but did not go out for track or something. So there's potentially 10 points on the table for Capen right there. But yeah, so Great Bend, obviously the reigning state champs in the 400, which is odd because there's no sprinters at states this year. No 1, 2, or 4 for Great Bend. And that's a big loss for points because Capen has a state champ in the 100 and 200, and it's looking like she could sweep this year.
Great work. Great work on seeing all the stuff on Catch It Kansas. I feel humbled by being in with you.
Always a sigh of relief when it's over. Get feeling in your left arm back.
All right, you ready to talk some swimming?
Let's get them in.
Okay, coming up next, Lady Panther swimmers. They'll recap last weekend's state meet. That's coming up next on Sports Day.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. Call Dan at 620-282-4825. That's 282-4825. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse at 9th and Madison in Great Bend.
Barton Community College enrollment days are back. Registration is now available for all sessions through July 26th. Make the enrollment process fun, fast, and simple. Reserve your spot to get everything set up for the fall semester in just one day. Visit with an academic and financial advisor, enroll in classes, take a tour of campus, and more. Visit enroll.bartoncccc.edu to sign up.
Hi, hon. Want to tag along to the grocery store with me?
Sure, but I just filled up the car with gas, and with those prices, we gotta be careful with groceries.
It's crazy. All the basic staples have gotten so expensive. But good news. Tina told me about this great app called Upside that pays you back big time just for using it. She said with the Upside app, she earned serious cash back on groceries and gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that we can actually get paid back real cash when we use the Upside app to buy gas and groceries?
Yep. Tina said they made around $200 already.
Whoa, finally something that pays us back money instead of costing us more. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas and groceries. Cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ESPN3 to save an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. Remember, use code ESPN3 to save an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
At Nextech Wireless, we know how important it is to stay connected. You can keep the whole family connected without breaking the bank. Now you can get up to 1, 2, 3, 4 lines for $100. And that's not all. Bring your number to us and get a $100 Visa gift card. Only at Nextech Wireless, home on the range.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
If you see any Great Bend swimmers out there, just tell them that they're ready to be on the air here. On Sports Day, welcome back. Steve Webster with you. Mike Hesher is in. Mike Corson's out looking for his guest, and Aaron Clark rejoins us right now. So the NFL owners today took what might be their final step toward decreasing injuries on kickoffs.
Yes, they did.
A fair catch on a kickoff will be placed at the 25 regardless of where it's fielded. The proposal designed to counteract a recent increase in pop-up kickoffs that some teams use to pin returning teams deep in their own territory.
So the big change is anywhere before the 25, you're going to be able to fair catch. Previously, you had to be in the end zone. This just brings up, I think we could replace kickoffs and kick returns entirely in football, just with punts. Would be almost the same thing. The result is pretty close to the same thing. The injuries on punting is a lot lower, mainly because you don't have that big build-up.
Yeah.
Like the players don't have 30, 40 yards to run downfield, build up that momentum and collide. And it
that
would
waste such a.
But and the other thing, if you make it like a 4th and 20, it gives you a much more appealing option to the onside too. Because then if you start the other team at 4th and 20, that's obviously you think they're going to punt. They still can try to get that first down. And then instead of an onside, which doesn't look like football in any sense of the word, except for an onside kick, you get a 4th and 20. You get an actual football play that gets them the ball back.
What do you mean
not
by
just
4th and 20?
So like when they go to kick off, instead of it being like a untimed down, regardless, it would be 4th and 20. That way, ideally, yeah, they just scored a touchdown. Usually that'd be a kickoff there. You put them at 4th and 20, probably going to punt that. But then if they don't want to kick off, like how sometimes a team would want to try an onside kick instead of kicking it deep,
right?
Instead of punting it deep to a team, they would be able to try and convert 4th and 20, which may be a longer odds than recovering an onside kick. But an onside kick isn't really football. You're relying a lot on catching an awkward bounce or the other team making a mistake. Whereas with this way, if they have to try and convert from 4th and 20, or just 4th and distance, it could be 4th and 15, whatever you want to make it. It would allow for an actual like football play to determine that outcome, and I think make those
have
parts of
they
the game.
done that yet?
There's been some talk about.
But they haven't done that.
No.
Okay, all right. That's what I thought. Golly, I didn't see that on there.
No. That was just a tangent I was going on about kickoffs and how we could change them for punts and how it would be feasible. Could lower injuries that way.
I'm all for all this safety that's been done over the years, as far as targeting and using the helmet and things like that. But because I think we've done a good job. Even though some people say, back in my day, you could peel back and take a cheap shot and take some guy, and just, destroy somebody. I don't think football misses that, because that's been taken out, because that was a cheap play. I mean, let's face it.
But like
but I don't think they've got to the point where they've significantly changed the sport of football. But, man, they're getting closer all the time.
And my big thing, I don't enjoy the kickoff enough for it to be around for as many injuries as it causes. There's so many times where a player gets injured, tears an ACL or takes a head injury in a kickoff, and obviously it's not worth it for when they get injured during a normal play, but that at least is football. And the kickoff, like, that's so foreign to every other aspect of the game. The kickoff
it's been part of football as long as we've had it.
But I mean
that. And that's such a big weapon. I mean, when Tyreek Hill, they were using him on kickoff returns, and they're using him on punt returns.
And then you still get it with the punter. I'm not saying you should outlaw punting, but there's a significant difference in the pattern of kickoffs versus punting. In kickoffs, the players get so long to build up speed and just spear each other, and it's much more aggressive. On a punt, you don't have that. You don't have
as far as it's not like the flying wedge we used to have.
No, and they've taken those steps
there's so
too
many
to prevent
blocking
that.
backs. You can't block below the waist.
And we still have. I think last year alone they had close to 20, if not ACL tears, knee injuries on the.
One thing I found was, when I played, man, football was rough. I mean, it was. Now, I wasn't fast enough to be on the kickoff team.
See, and that's, I think the
punt team. Oh yeah, I was the guy that set up the wall. I was the dirty player. Man, came back. Oh,
the shield
peeled back and hit him. But I mean, you're taking, like I said, you're taking a significant part of the game of football that we're used to seeing. And taking that away,
it'd be wild, and I agree. But I also want to point out that punt returns are infinitely more entertaining than kick returns. think like.
Well, you haven't watched a lot of kick returns because the guy kick it a mile through the end zone and it's a touchback.
Well, no, but even like most kick returns that you see, they're gonna be a more of like a shot out of a cannon type play where they find a gap and they hit.
You don't like that?
I don't mind that. However, I would much rather watch a punt play where the player catches it, makes 3 guys miss, like going left, going right, and then is able to kind of zig and zag his way
You're
to
definitely
that.
like the different flavor of ice cream than I do because I would take a kickoff return way over a punt return.
Really? Wow, I would much rather see him make a couple guys miss before taking off rather than just have it out the gun. But.
Yeah, but you see some man, those guys hit that.
It is pretty satisfying.
And you're going.
Probably the most satisfying.
But man,
play.
that's part of teams. They say, well, we've got to be good on the special teams. Well, they can't do that anymore because there's no special teams.
And that's why it would turn the punt unit a lot more. I think we'd see a lot more focus there, and then we still would have kicking field goals, like the place kicking.
We
that
got to keep
aspect.
that in there. Yeah,
well, absolutely. This is kind of a different tangent, but every year the draft rolls around, there's some question like if you knew you had a kicker who could make it from 75 yards away, where would he go in the draft? He would go number 1. Are you joking? If you could guarantee yourself 3 points every possession. Because if you have a kicker who can make a field goal 75 yards, he'd go number 1 overall. 3 points every.
I understand that, but we've got the point now on field goal kicks. Narrow the goalpost down.
We can see that.
Them
Make
guys
it a
can
little.
sit there and drop a field goal in a barrel.
And because when was the last time we had the goalpost narrowed? Do you? I have no idea.
It's been a while because they used to be the same distance as
college, right?
As college, right?
Yeah.
And high school.
One of my favorite football fields.
And now the NFL's even narrower than college.
Yeah.
So
they could narrow them in even more. We've seen.
I wouldn't have any problem with that, but don't take my kickoff away.
If they do, like I said, make it that 4th and 15, 4th and 20, just a long conversion that they have to make. I like that idea.
That goes back in the traditional football that we're used to watching. Isn't that what you're saying?
No, it doesn't have to be traditional. I just said like when you look at it in elements, offensive side of the ball, that still looks like defense. Defense looks like this kickoff. Just like it looks like a different sport. It looks like it.
I don't know. They've used kickoffs as long as they've had football. I think that's what it looks like.
I understand it, but they
might get hurt. Football. And I'm all for safety. It is. I mean, all the things they've made, but they have not changed what football is all about. I mean, I could see that coming to high school. And you take it. Okay, there's some schools that do this for junior high games. Okay, you punt the football, and it's 25 yards from the field, and if you punt it, that's where the ball's going to go. Well, if you got a good kid that that can return a ball for a touchdown, I don't know. Doggone it. We're going to take we don't have enough time. You guys can say anything. What do you guys think?
I worry about the little guys. What about the guys who aren't good enough to play quarterback and running back? They're on the kick team.
It's not fair.
But I'm saying, so
I think it's funny that you say you worry about the little guys and then start talking about running back.
If you get a decent contract and you're on the kick team and you tear your ACL and you play 1 year, sorry, you've made more than most people make. So what are you going to do with those guys that are good enough to be in the league, but they're not good enough to be every down guys?
Do you have to have as much roster space?
And you would think.
I mean, maybe, of course, it's really interesting because the NFL, what do they have, like 7 offensive linemen or 8 offensive linemen, and the rest of your roster is built up for those safeties and guys that can go down and.
So what's the union's role in that? They got to protect the safety of the players, but they probably also want to keep a lot of those guys employed.
Another little tidbit: the NFL approved teams can have a third active quarterback on the roster on game days who doesn't count against their roster limit. So like we've seen this year, 2 quarterbacks get injured, and like that happened to the 49ers. They had to revert to Christian McCaffrey. Now 49ers will be able to keep a third quarterback that doesn't go against.
That makes sense. I mean,
it's kind of like, hey, this guy isn't going to play unless both of these guys get injured.
That didn't look like football.
Exactly. Then
NFL football is having a guy like number 84 Who was that started for the Broncos a few years? I mean, that was, they had to use a
Kendall Hinton.
Yeah, they had to use him.
He was a wide receiver for him the entire before that season and the next season.
Good discussion. I didn't think that would.
I'd fill up 15 minutes with NFL talk any day of the week.
Okay. Talk to you tomorrow on Sports Day.